This is how you know that what's going on in Washington, D.C. is a drama, a play, a fiction, a fantasy, a fake, and you can prove this without any shadow of a doubt, okay? Right now I'm talking about this investigation into Russia. Look how phony and fake this is. I mean, look, judge for yourself. Watch. Judge Mueller. And by the way, if you don't know what I'm doing, this is gematria.com, okay? The website right here. You just type that in, you go to tools, you open up calculator, and this appears, okay? You type in the word and it gives you the numbers for it. Simple as can be. These are ciphers that are spoken about by Manly P. Hall. Okay, simple as can be. The first one is real simple. A equals 1, B equals 2, and you go to Z equals 26, right? Simple as can be. The other ciphers, you can run a cursor over and it shows you how each one works, okay? Very well known, well, not well known so much, but very historical codes, ciphers that have been used to code information for a long time. So I should always give you that intro, I guess, but so you know what's going on if you're new. But this is this is Robert Mueller. Check out these numbers. And now what's he doing right now? Okay, an investigation. The exact same in all four ciphers. Now, I'm going to tell you more here in a minute, but let's just stop and think about just that for a second. What you're watching in Washington has to be phony, planned out in advance, and it's not entertainment per se, but it is to somehow script a reality, which makes you have to ask, what are they really up to? Because consider this. This investigator, Robert Mueller, had already have been in the Department of Justice, already paired up to do an investigation, okay, before this whole thing already happened. Consider this. Consider these numbers, okay? I mean, think about what this implies. He's the one doing the investigation, and you have a person whose name had to have been paired up with it, ready to go. That's how crazy this government is that we live under, this matrix, this phony play that they're doing for us. It's insane. Now, you know, and it's also happening in Washington, D.C., right? Which has two of the same numbers, you know, 56 and 187. And by the way, you know, if you hit return, it just drops it down to the bottom so you can compare. Because look how easy it is. 187 and 3 ciphers. Okay, so you have an investigation by Robert Mueller in Washington, D.C., and 56 is just the mirror of 65. Like we say all the time, that the reason that you hear that mirrors have demons and that sort of thing living in them is because they're talking about to the principle of reversing numbers in their sacred geometry and in their gematria. Okay, that's just what they do. Okay, so anytime you see a Hollywood movie and they talk about a demon in a mirror or something like that, or you can trap spirits in mirrors, this is really what they're talking about. Okay, so anyways, it's the same number, 56 and 65, 187, and all three ciphers. Well, you know, it's probably interesting to note that this is part of a special counsel. Okay, and look at those numbers. Okay, it's I'm not comparing it to the ones below it so much, although 55 is pretty close to 56, I guess, but not really what I'm aiming for right here, because special counsel, okay, 224 is a part of the Department of Justice. 224, you know, this is how the government does everything. They just code everything with each other. Okay. And you know, it's not a coincidence. You can't have such numbers and it just be total coincidence. It's utterly impossible. I saw one guy in Fox News and he compared it to the Star Report, and it's okay. I'll just type it in. Okay, it's not super close, but you can see why they did it. Okay, so the Star Report, back from when Ken Starr investigated Bill Clinton and all that, if you don't remember. Well, that's 75 and 177. Well, 75 is fairly like 55, 65, 75, and 187 is like 177. You know, it's fairly close, okay? So that's why they compared it. So they script this news just by the numbers, just to script a false reality. That, you know, they already know the outcome of whatever's going to happen. You know, they said there was 37 indictments. Well, probably because impeach is 37, you know, right here, full reduction. And this whole thing is set up to try to impeach the president, which maybe they do, maybe they don't. But my point is, whether they do or don't, the whole thing is a drama set up in advance. So they already know whether or not it's going to happen. Do you understand? Right now we have Attorney General William Barr. And look at the numbers again. 55, you know, like pretty darn close to 56. You know, 179, pretty close here to 177, you know. And 80, which is the same thing as a special counsel here. So it's actually the same here, 80 and 80 and 55 and 55. It's not a coincidence, you know. All these people are working together on the same thing. And then you got, why are they always talking about Devin Nunes? And they always talk about him and a dossier, right? If you don't even know who these people are, but you just listen, it's like you hear the words, okay? And like you'll even be able to go in and just type, even if you don't know who they are, because you just heard them say it so many times, okay? But look at that. You know, 35 and 53, 46 and 46. You know, I mean, so why is this guy always chasing out information about a dossier or whatever the heck he's doing? Well, because he's just paired to do it with the numbers. That's really what's going on. And it seems to just blow our minds that that's what's going on, but that's the reality of our government. That's how this whole thing in Washington works. It's a fiction. If we vote for these people and we participate in it any longer, we're just participating in a fiction and in a fantasy and giving it authority and giving it power to continue to control us. If you don't think this has been going on for a long time, well, I went to a museum here locally and I saw a census from 1790, I think it was, okay. And it was the first census in Washington County, Ohio, which, if you don't know your history very well, Ohio is first settlement in the Northwest Territory, first state of the Northwest Territory. Marietta is the first settlement in Ohio, so it's the first settlement in the Northwest Territory. Well, this very first census that was done, there was a copy of it there. I don't think it was original in the museum, but and this was right after I was just starting to learn gematria, and this just blew my mind. This census, all the numbers were just simply a gematriation of George Washington, the name George Washington. And George Washington had come through here at one time, coming down the river and all that, and he'd done surveys up in Ohio and that sort of thing. So it makes sense, that's why we call it Washington County, right? So just the craziness that they've been doing this even before. Well, I guess it wasn't before we were a country, but right at the very beginning, they've been doing this. If you look at some of my old videos, you can see how some of the information going all the way back to the Pilgrims was gematriated. I mean, for heaven's sakes, this has been going on too long, and it's time we wake up and understand. So somebody got paid 200 years ago to do a survey, and it was just baloney. Well, you think things have gotten better since then? The news that you're getting today is all done by this code. But not just the news, but the activities themselves within government are entirely rehearsed and thought through before they ever begin. And what if he gets impeached or whatever? It's because it's part of the plan. It's to make something else happen. Our goal now is to try to figure out what it actually is that they're trying to make happen through this false reality. What we can't do is get caught up in that false reality, because if we get caught up in it, then they definitely get what they want. But they have to use some sort of a code to be able to communicate with each other, for those that do know and understand, to be able to make it happen the way they want. They can't bring it out in the open. So it behooves us to learn these codes They're simple, okay? But you don't even have to understand them. You can punch them into the calculator, okay? But I recommend that you kind of get the general idea, because you know what, if they take down the website again, you're going to want to be able to write this out on a piece of paper. But I mean, if you know your alphabet and you can count to 26, you can get the first one, right? You know, the one I use a lot is this septenary cipher right here. You go to ciphers, you can open up new ones, right? So you hit other. Well, the septenary one I use a lot because all the false flag shootings contain biblical messages, and this is a cipher that is built into the Bible, okay? And because of the 7-day week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it counts backwards, and it just starts over. So there's more than one letter for each of the 7 numbers, 26 letters going into 7 numbers, okay? So this is an important cipher to learn, super easy. And if they ever take this down, we'll still be able to understand what they're doing. I mean, obviously, they didn't need a calculator to create it, because, I mean, they've been doing this at least since 1780s, I mean, it was funny. Every word they had in there, they said they had, like, in that report, that census at the museum, they had, like, I don't know, so many laborers, and the word laborers was that number. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, every single word was gematriated. Just a fake report. And imagine they got paid for doing some report, probably. Surveyors got paid to put that together, and all it was just some masons getting together, and you can imagine them laughing about it in a corner. But you think it's got any better? The people at Fox News and CNN, that's what they're doing to you right now. With every story you see on television, it's all fake. And you take your sports so seriously, but the sports are just as fake and just as scripted by this code. Don't ask me exactly how they do it. I don't know, but if you're getting paid millions of dollars, you can probably know exactly when not to put the ball in the basket, or when to fall down, and make it look good. Because they're actors too. So it's time we wake up, and it's time we consider what's going on and try to tell other people. Don't hide this knowledge. Spread it far and wide. It's been hidden too long. They call it hidden secret knowledge, occult, if you will. It shouldn't be occult any longer. Okay, it needs to be broadcast from the mountaintops. And, you're going to risk people that don't understand, like I hear every day, oh, you're a Satanist. No, I'm not a Satanist, okay. No. However, I do like to decode some of the things that the Satanists do, so that you can be wise to what they're doing and what they're pulling over, how they're pulling the wool over the eyes of a lot of people. Okay? So, shouldn't you want to do that too? Shouldn't you want to be one who reveals truth to others? Well, learn it and then spread it to other people. It's very important knowledge. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.